Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Once again, everyone from where you're watching us, within and outside Kenya. I hope that you are doing well, everybody. I wish you the very best for 2025, by the way. May your dreams come true. Again, here is the perspective, delving into political and economic matters as usual. But before we continue, I am asking all of us to just hit the subscribe button so that we continue growing our channel, for us to be able to have conversations that cut across leadership and politics, economics, because as I said before, those are the two most factors that really affect the growth of a country. And therefore, we cannot afford to assume them. It's important that all of us Kenyans understand and appreciate the role that they play in making Kenya a better nation, how we are governed, how we run our economy. I think those are very, very important issues that we must always discuss. But today I want to talk about something that really has slipped through our hands, and that is the difference between politicians and leaders. Because should we have politicians as our leaders, or should we have leaders, managers in those positions? And the first difference between leaders and politicians is that politicians see growth as personal growth, while leaders see growth as, the growth of the people. A politician would want to grow their empire. A politician would want to grow their dynasty. They would want to get rich alone. They will enrich, they will steal. But a leader will quantify success by how he changes the lives of his people. That's a leader. Number two, politicians survive on lies. They will lie and lie and lie and lie every time. When they get a microphone, they just speak lies because they know they will do nothing. They will actually start lying when they want to ascend to those positions. And they will stay in those positions through lies. Those are politicians, shameless liars. But leaders speak the truth to their people. They are open. They don't hide anything. They allow their people to access every bit of information. They allow their people to criticize them. They listen to learn and correct their mistakes. Those are leaders. They don't lie, they say the truth. Number three, politicians assemble a few people who they manipulate to advance their agenda. They would not want to work with everybody. They work through covert means, just to hide information, to cut deals with wheeler dealers and the musketeers and profiteers, just to enrich themselves and a few friends they have, who protects their interests by all means and cost. But leaders works for all people. They don't cut deals. They allow their people to express themselves on how they feel. They are leading them, and they make sure that the available resources are shared equally to all people, regardless of their tribe, their ethnic affiliations, and gender orientation. Those are leaders. Politicians are there to serve personal interests. They're just there to serve personal interests. Their interest is them and their families. Leaders are there to serve the interests of the people. And that is very clear. These are things that we must see and understand. Politicians cause problems. Politicians cause problems. They deliberately cause problems. They create these problems. And they ensure that these problems are not solved. So that they ride on those problems to hoodwink the masses to endorse blatant illegalities. Politicians, but leaders are problem solvers. Leaders are problem solvers. They review their problems, they understand the problems, and they find solutions to those problems. Those are leaders. Politicians hide their faces. Like when a corruption case is mentioned, the politicians would want to defend themselves. They will never be unmasked because they use other people to carry this on their behalf. But leaders are straightforward people. They don't hide anything. They lead from the front. They are the first people to show the direction because they believe in what they are doing. Those are leaders. And finally, but not least, politicians are pretenders. They project who they are not. They will come and speak to you about how good they are, but in essence, they are devils in angels incarnate. They cannot dare project their true characters. They pretend. They speak from both ends of the mouth. They have no stand. They shift goalposts every now and then. They have no voice of their own. They must camouflage. Hmm? Those are politicians. Leaders are forthright. They are an open book. They don't pretend. They are who they think they are. They take criticisms. They take corrections. These are leaders. These are leaders. So that is, for me, what I would call the biggest differences between politicians and leaders. So now we know we have to be able to discern when someone is pretending or when someone is trying to be truthful to us. Then we can be able to tell whether we have a leader or a politician. As we know it, for a country to grow, it needs less of politicians, but more of leaders. For a country to grow, it needs more of leadership and less of politics. And countries that have excelled economically, politically, in terms of growing their democracy, they have leaders. For example, we have Nelson Mandela from South Africa. Mandela was a leader. He did not entrench himself into leadership, but he led, and when time was up, he honorably quit and allowed other South Africans to lead, because that is how we grow a country. We have politicians like Mobutu Sese Seko of Congo, a man who refused to relinquish power until he was removed forcefully through an iron fist and a bullet instead of a ballot. So we have to discern and look at Congo where it is right now. Look at DRC. It's doing extremely badly because of the mistakes that were done by their forefathers. Just because they were politicians, that they refused to behave like leaders. It is absolutely imperative that we embrace leadership. We look for true leaders, people who speak what they mean, and they mean what they speak. not people with pretentious intentions. They speak and mean the opposite of what they speak about. When they say A, they mean B, and when they say B, they mean A. Those are people that we must completely exterminate within our political and leadership circles if we are to grow as a country. We cannot continue to be held hostage by politicians who lack morals, politicians who lack an agenda that is good or meaningful to Kenyans. So therefore, because this chance will come for us to make decisions, we must make decisions. Leaders vis-a-vis politicians. Leaders vis-a-vis politicians. And that is something that we all as Kenyans must embrace and learn to do. Because I said, the preamble of our constitution states that the sovereign power belongs to the people. But I said the sovereign power, it is the strongest and the highest at the ballot. That is when we must be at our best state of mind. That is where we must be very sober. That is where we must and should use our mental faculties, use our prowess to elect the best leaders who can change and reform our country for the better and for the benefit of all generations, for now and in the years to come. So thank you very much. I want to thank you once again for your audience, and I hope that we continue growing. So once again, please just hit the subscribe button and let us grow together. Thank you. Adios.